The 1972 referendum, May 20th, 1972 referendum, was carried out to unify the nation, to have one common vision, one common culture, one common philosophy that will help propel Cameroon's development, which was at the time based on Green Revolution, with the then President Ahmadou Ahidjo. When this was done, many Cameroonians were happy that this will help accelerate the rate of cultural diversification and also promote cultural integration. Above all, help Cameroonians to see on one common front and one common political vision, one common economic vision, one common cultural vision, one common geographical and, of course, social vision. Since that was done, we are counting more than 50 years after the referendum was conducted, after it was overwhelmingly voted for national integration, unity, and development in its different diversity. The question we are asking, how are Cameroonians more united now than before? Looking at the vision, the goal of the 1972 referendum, are Cameroonians more united in the diversity? The rate of hate speech in Cameroon has increased unlike it was before and during the 1972 era. Hate speech in Cameroon is on the rise, despite the fact that our beloved government is putting in effort to curb and to fight against hate speech. It is common these days across some offices, some sectors, some towns, some cities to hear people being called, people being named by the area they come from in a mockery manner, they are not judged by the value, by the contribution they have in their society. They are judged by their tribes. Today it is common for someone to ask your name and you tell the person, my name is Joseph. The person who asks, I know your name is Joseph. The other name. The other name, what is your other name? That person is not asking for your other name because he or she wants to be aware that you are called Joseph Tazok. That person is asking for that other name to know how he or she can deal and treat with you. And when you say your name is Joseph Tazo or Joseph Agbo or Joseph Peter or whatever you call, that person, if it is from the tribe of that person you will see a kind of smile that comes from the face of that person. But if it is of a tribe that person so hates, you will see that person will just say, okay. Then the way in which he will treat you will be different. That is not a Cameroon that the vision of the referendum was founded upon. The vision of the referendum was founded on the love for our patrimony, the love for our fellow brothers and sisters. That love where you see a fellow brother and sister coming from a different region. You open your arms and say, welcome, my dear brother. How good it is for us to meet our brothers again. That is the foundation upon that vision. The sad reality here is that today it is common for you to hear people call names like Tontina, Sardina, Graphy, this and that and that and that. That is not the Cameroon. And so we are asking ourselves this question. How united are Cameroonians now more than they were before? And what needs to be done to accelerate, to inculcate, and to promote cultural diversity, unity in our beloved nation, the land of promise, land of glory, and deep endangerment forevermore, as we always sing. This is House of Commons with me, Tah Mai Jarvis. I want to wish you guys a very, very happy Sunday. My very good senior brother who is also in Moya, Mr. Golof Abeng. I want to wish you and your wife a special happy Sunday. A special happy Sunday to you, our Reverend Father Edwin Mai, and also to you, the President of the Catholic University Institute of Boya. I'm talking about Reverend Father Bartholomew Anyawu. Happy Sunday to you, and also to the Bishop of Boya, His Lordship, the Chief Shepherd of Boya Diocese, Michael Bibi, who happens to be the Chancellor, Pro-Chancellor of the Catholic University of Boya. And my Lord, I want to wish you also a very special happy Sunday, a happy Sunday from your end. And also to you, Mr. Nyam Robert and the wife, also Madam Joanne, I want to wish you guys a very happy Sunday. May the good God continue to guide and protect you. And so today we are looking at two topics. The first one we are going to look at is 1972 referendum. How united are Cameroonians more than they were before. And also, we are also going to look at also the second topic which we shall be looking at is the outsourcing of Cameroon data to a foreign German company. A German company that will be helping Cameroon to produce national identification card, I'm sure within 2 days or so. The question that we shall be asking, or we are asking, that 60 years after we regained our independence, 60 years after we started higher education, 60 years after we started training professionals, is it that Cameroonians cannot be able to produce their ID card and to have their data? Can Cameroonians not be able? Is it that in the entire Cameroon, there is no company at all competent, able, that can hold the data and produce biometric identification card? That is the question we shall also be attempting to answer. And so I introduce to you my guest with whom we are going to discuss on today's edition of our program. Nick Anu is an active member of the Cameroon Civil Society Organization. Nick Anu, happy Sunday and thanks for joining us.
Happy Sunday to you, Tah Mai Jarvis. Happy Sunday to fellow Cameroonians watching us all over the world. Happy Feast of the National Unity in advance to those celebrating. And we're here to talk about the aftermath of national unity from 72 to now, and we hope that in the course of the program we shall be able to dissect into all aspects of national unity in Cameroon, whether we are a united nation or not. And also I wish to say happy Sunday to some friends and Chief Barrister Fondong in Boya, Maitre Ernest in Boya, and happy Sunday also to Barrister Anyang Lewis or in Boya. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and also a special happy Pentecost Sunday to all the Christians, those who believe in Pentecost like myself. Happy Sunday, happy Pentecost Sunday to you. Desmond Emmanuel is a co-founder of the New Era Youth for Africa, a very strong civil society organization which is within Africa and strive to fight against imperialist tendency to promote African unity, diversity, and also acculturation and good governance in Africa. Desmond Emmanuel, happy Sunday. Ayisima Bobi.
Happy Sunday, Jarvis, and thanks for having me. It's been a while, and I'm happy that I've been able to make out time today to be in the studio, given the fact that what we are talking about touches in the very fabrics of our living together in this nation that has been in broken pieces for a very long time. I just wish that our contribution that we are going to give here today will help in one way or the other to mend the broken pieces of our unity, which I think it would have been a blessing if Cameroonians had taken their diversity in a positive sense. So it's a pleasure once more to be here.
Thank you very much. Also, those of you watching us on Facebook, want to wish you guys a very special happy Sunday. All those of you watching us on Facebook, we're talking about Castelletto Fali. Happy Sunday to you, Castelletto Fali, watching us from Pakistan. If you are just also joining us, you can also have the time to participate in the course of our program. And let me begin the program with you, Desmond Emmanuel. We are counting more than 50, that is 52 years after we went to the polls in 1972 and voted for the referendum. How united are Cameroonians more? The vision of unity, are we still keeping it or have we derailed?
Well, before I answer your question, I want to make this fervent appeal to Cameroonians that a nation fails or a nation's history can only be distorted if the citizens abandon the history of the nation into the hands of political professors. So it's a call for every Cameroonian to have it in mind that the history of a nation, I know somebody will question if everybody was to read the history of the nation, who shall write the history of the nation? But then we have every source where we can source out the true history of every nation. Let every citizen take it as a duty to at least have a grasp of 60% of the history of this nation. Because abandoning our history into political professors and doctors recruited and sometimes manipulated by the state, which is very normal. It's not only the history of Cameroon that the state can manipulate, gives an opportunity for wrongdoing and distortion of history. That said, your question is very clear. Have we derailed from what our forefathers or the forebearers of our unification had in mind? The answer is yes. It's a very big yes, you know. I think if we look at how Cameroon is being governed today and how Cameroonians live among themselves today, you will discover that in 1972, it's true that some of us, most of us were not born, but we have had the privilege to have our parents who were born by then to hand down oral history to us and even in written records. You will understand that Cameroon is more divided today than it was after the unification. Even though there is still a contestation, there is still a question mark as to whether the people actually accepted to reunify or not. But that, I leave it for another day. Let's assume that the people accepted to come together. They came together over certain principles. Those principles have been broken. And those principles, one of them is the language, the English and the French, which were supposed to have equal strength. But then, we are in a country where one language has absorbed the other one. It is no longer history. Let me just give you some few examples. Official documents in this country, 90% come out in French language. In a unified country, where the two people who came together, in quotes, I put it, were supposed to live as equal partners. You go to a gendarmerie post or a police post, the language of command is the French, which means that I'm starting with this linguistic aspect because it has created a lot of problems. You go to a gendarmerie post or a police post, the language of command there is solely French. That is, you need to push harder before somebody speaks to you in these structures in English. They even go as far as saying that English is the second language. Who makes it second language? Where? How? When? And to whom? You see, we have training schools in Cameroon. 80% of them, their acronyms are in French. Let me just cite one. ENS, École Normale Supérieure. Some people will struggle to give a connotation in English, which does not even tie as higher or whatsoever. You see, in a country that was supposed to be unified, that the people were supposed to feel at home as one person.
Their diversity.
In their diversity, Tah Mai Jarvis. That country has pushed one side of the country to remain second-class citizens. Just look at the state apparatus. If we were to look at the organigram of the state, we will not be out of place to say that our unity has been punctured by the way the country functions. Look at the first number one man of the state, Francophone. Second, Francophone. Third, Francophone. Economic Council, Francophone. And now you have the Prime Minister. In unity, we must live to see the unity rather than just being set to be in unity. So practically, we are more disunited than we were before. And like I said I wanted to start from the linguistic background of our disunity.
No, the head of state has never addressed the nation in English.
You have taken my word. I say I started with a linguistic background. That in a country where the two languages were supposed to be of equal status, the president of the nation has never addressed Cameroon or Cameroonians in the Queen's language, which is a big problem. Because if you are talking to the whole nation, my grandmother in Furawa, that woman in Manyemen, that woman in Gelmunduka should be able to get the two languages. That one from Gelmunduka should be able to get it in French, and that other one from Furawa should be able to get it in English, which is a very big problem. It shows that if there is disunity in Cameroon today, it starts from the top. It is fuel from the top. It is not from the bottom. Because we are supposed to preach by examples. That's what we call leadership. Leadership is supposed to be exemplary. You don't tell me to do the virtue while you do the vice. It is contrary. That alone rapes the characteristics of good leadership in a country that is supposed to be unified. Now, just imagine how Cameroon would have looked like if we took our own bilingualism as a blessing. I am telling you that people will be leaving Cairo to school in Cameroon because they want to tap from the blessings of our bilingualism. But our nation, unfortunately, was blessed with bad leaders, bad leadership. Imagine Ahijo did some work in this direction. I know why I'm hammering on bilingualism. GBHS, Government Bilingual Grammar School Moliko, in its essence, was created to foster linguistic unity in Cameroon. Today, I was with a professor on one television who was struggling to justify that we don't have the human resource to equip the linguistic centers in Cameroon. And I was baffled. I was astonished because I asked him a simple question. If one minister can embezzle 80 billion in this very country, how much do we need? Do we need money from another planet to develop human resource? No, we have enough time to develop human resource to foster bilingualism in a county where the structures were already there before the second head of state came in. He has failed.
We're coming back to you.
He has failed to manage
how united are Cameroonians before as of now? When you look at the referendum, of course, we can always say that, yeah, we were not born in the era of 1972, but also when we look at the area where we were born, with its unity and as compared to now, how can you rate the period between the late 1980, which I believe, or early 1980, mid 1980s, when I believe most of us were born, as of now, the 2000s? How do you look at the unity? How are Cameroonians?
We can say the unity is on a decline, a constant decline on a daily basis, which is, to me, an agenda by the state in power, or those in leadership. They've set up this agenda to make sure that Cameroonians are not united. I want us to understand something when we're talking about national unity. I don't think in Cameroon the policies in place are really promoting national unity per se, or per the word unity. What the state has been practicing or has been promoting over the years, national uniformity. To me, there's a difference between unity and uniformity. Uniformity in the sense that the one that everybody should think and reason the same, the one that the administration should be the same. That was the agenda of the Ahiju regime before 1972. If you look back into history, you will see that 1966, President Ahiju made sure that all political parties were united into one, or were formed into one, into a national congress or whatever. That's CNU. So this kind of agenda was to make sure that everybody reason and think the same. That is not unity. That's uniformity. He makes sure that there should be administrative uniformity, meaning that every region, no matter your linguistic, your cultural background, you should be governed the same. That to me is not unity. Unity, in order to be a national unity, we have to take into consideration our diversity. There has to be unity in diversity, but the diversity aspect was not respected, and we are just left now but with uniformity. Uniformity in sense they want everybody to, every part of the nation to be look the same, and so that it suits the hyper centralized nature of the state. Because if you bring in unity in diversity, somebody in the Anglophone region will not be reasoning with the kind of colonial mentality that the central state want it to be, and so they may not be able to drive the agenda in that part of the country. So in order for them to rule and to reign as kings, they have to make sure that everywhere national uniformity is practiced, not national unity. That has been our problem. We can see the aftermath of the uniformity that we're practicing today. The war in the Anglophone region. How did it start? It started when so many things they wanted many things to be harmonized, meaning that the diversity aspect of the state was not considered. You want somebody in Furawa to reason in, or to, like say, go to the gendarmerie, give his statement in French, he goes and meet a commandant speaking in French, he doesn't understand what they're saying. And all of these things are things that happen on a daily basis. I have witnessed that firsthand. You go to a gendarmerie post, they write a statement in French. What be tell you don't even understand a bit of French. You give your statement in French, in English, they translate it into French in their own thinking, and they write things to implicate you. And this kind of mentality and thinking cannot develop a nation. It breeds in animosity among the citizens of that nation. Okay, another reason why maybe the Ahiju regime proposed national unity, or like that was like killing the federal system that was in place, was running costs. If you look at that into consideration, you believe that it wasn't true. The issue was not the running three arms of the nation. That's the federated state and then the central government. If you look at what is happening in Cameroon today, how many arms of the government do we have? The central government, we have the regional government, and if you look at the budget, the money that is being spent to run all these aspects, the regional governments or councils that are doing what the state is doing, meaning that there's multiplicity of function, and all of this entails government, it entails money to run all of these states, paying services that are doing one and the same thing. And it goes back to maybe 1972 or before 1972, where they were giving the idea that it was too costly to run the federated state and the central state, of which we will see that the intention was not true. In order to build a nation, we must be able to tell ourselves the truth. We can keep lying to people for all these years. 52 years after, are we more united or not? I think we are more divided. The government, the central government that was put in place, was the agenda to drive national uniformity in the sense that they will kill the aspirations and the culture of other people. I talk, for example, the Anglophone population in this country. Officially, we say they form about 20% of this nation. And the 1972 was the United Republic of Cameroon. When the current president came into place, it changed to Republic of Cameroon, as it was the name of one of the federated states before 1972. And this breeds a kind of frustration in us Anglophone in this country to see that we were actually assimilated, and on a daily basis we feel this punch of assimilation, in the sense that Cameroon as of present is projected as a French nation, not as a bilingual nation. It is, when you look at Cameroon from the outside, where they look at it as a French nation rather than a united or a bilingual nation that speaks English and French, because the French language or the French way of doing things, the French culture is more promoted than the English culture. So this kind of breeds frustration in a country. You cannot foster national unity building this kind of agenda, and that people feel that they are second-class citizens. And all of these wounds that are hurting this nation are called wounds because every day, just last week, we can count the number of defense forces that are falling because of what is ongoing in the Anglophone region. All of these are wounds that are hurting us on a daily basis. And when you want to heal the wound, you don't look at the pains. You must be able to bear the pains in order to heal that. And the pains that are killing us is falsehood. In order to build this or rebuild this nation, because we need rebuilding. We need rebuilding of this nation. In order to rebuild it, we must tell ourselves the truth. We must tell ourselves the truth and the next generation, so that the next generation don't come and build on these lies. We must tell ourselves the truth. The truth of our history must be taught to the current and the future generation of this nation. Yeah, I'm agreeing with him. That, of politicians, yes, yes. Yeah, it's true that political professors in Cameroon who can manipulate the history of a nation for their personal pockets. So this kind of thing, it breeds danger in every nation. And so we must be able to tell ourselves the truth. The current regime in place must be able to tell or right the wrongs of the past, so that we can be able to build a united and strong nation. It is not a curse if Cameroon is English and French culture. It is an asset that has been poorly managed. Other nations are, if you go to the European Union, for example, many of those European Union states, they adopt English as their second language. If you go to Germany, there's no German citizen who doesn't speak English. But in Cameroon, we have official languages of English and French, but you have the French as a part of the country, they don't value English. They rather, in their English, their subsystem of education, they study German, they study Spanish and promote these languages. They can speak German, they can speak Spanish, but meanwhile, the English, that is their official language, they cannot speak. This kind of breed animosity in a nation that English language, where other nations are adopting as their second language, and our own, we have the colonial heritage of that language, and we don't promote it for our own good or for our own unity and progress.
Okay. Before coming to this third guest, let me take on this message. Yet, unity remains strength, but there is no national unity existing in Cameroon. Coupled with the feeling of superiority of others regarding some as inferior, hate speech here and there, tribalism has really showcased that there is no unity in Cameroon. Choto Tombang, writing from Noni, thank you very much. This one say happy Pentecost Sunday to you, Jarvis, and all in the studio. I think Cameroonians need to be reunited. I equally believe that we feel second-class citizens because we are the minority. That notwithstanding, if each Cameroonian is truthful and with the fear of God, we will be reunited. Otherwise, we continue to observe the present kind of society we live in. Hyson writing from Yaoundé. And of course, we have Desmond writing from Yaoundé. This is good afternoon to everyone in the panel. I think in 1972, the state of Cameroon transformed from a federal system of governance to a unitary and centralized system of governance. This brought this unity because it made it possible for some people in some localities to have an upper hand over others, bringing about this unity. This other one right says, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon, House of Commons. To some extent, I think that there is little or no unity amongst Cameroonians due to the distribution of the national cake, coupled with discrimination of minority groups, has led to high hate speech. This one says, good afternoon, Mr. Tah. The authorities are dividing Cameroon more than the so-called separatists. Cameroon is known outside as a French country. When speaks English outside and say you are from Cameroon, people are surprised. Many of our authorities do not make an attempt to speak English. Foreigners do try to speak English and French, but our authorities not. Jacob writing from Bamenda. He is our guest in the studio is a very, very high standard engineer in Cameroon, and someone that has been able to train Cameroonians from different specialty as far as engineering is concerned, and he is also a lecturer in some key higher universities or higher educational institutions in Cameroon. Engineer Dixon, thanks for joining us on Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Mr. Jarvis, and thanks for having me today in this platform. I want to say happy Sunday to our televiewers, happy Sunday to my co-panelists, and I'm happy being here. I don't know, should I continue my contribution?
Yes, of course.
Okay, the topic is a very interesting one. Are we more united than before? The answer is blatantly no. And some of the pointers that we can indicate to show that there is no unity. First, if we look at our educational system, which one time we talked about, the educational divide that exists, you see we have two sub-systems, the English subsystem, the French subsystem. And over time, there have been conflicts between the two systems and what actually has to happen. I want to tally with what my co-panelist, Mr. Nick, said, that this division can be a blessing, and if not well managed, can again be a curse. The fact that the nature of the state was changed from a federal, which to me a federal system gives some autonomy in the operations of different regions, and they can, be active in their own development. And the fact that that state was changed to now a unitary, whereby Yaoundé dictates everything that happens in all the other regions, that alone has created a limitation in the valorization of our heritage, which is from the historical background, the English subsystem and the French subsystem. I think the delayance of the decentralization process, which was enshrined in our constitution in 1996, the delayance of the implementation also created this division, because you see regions don't have autonomy to really guarantee their development. We have divisions like the Indian division that we know is very rich in terms of natural resources, but you bear with me that access route to that division does not exist. And I think if there was clear decentralization, these regional councillors would have been given an upper hand for them to earmark key projects that with time they can follow up and mobilize resources to get it done. But now that everything is centralized in Yaoundé, and sometimes prioritization of what project has to be done may be based on political inclination. So again, that brings me to political divide that exists, because you can say that Cameroon has been a unipolar as far as the political landscape is concerned. To me, the fact we have multi-partyism is decoration, because we have seen many times where some opposition parties may go and apply for a small demonstration. They will accept. And in the end of the day, once they go to the street, you discover that they are met with the men of forces of law and order. But when the major party in power is doing same, nothing like that happens. So that division alone creates some disunity in the Cameroon system. So I've mentioned the educational divide. I have talked on the uneven distribution of developmental projects. I think if you visit the regions, you discover that the developmental division is really, really evident. I will not talk only about the southwest that I'm coming from. I think when you go to north and extreme north, you will discover that the people are really suffering. There's a lot of suffering and poverty in north and extreme north. They face very difficulties to even access water, which to me, if there was decentralization, actual decentralization, let the people decide what they want, not Yaoundé telling them what they should have. You discover that the people in the north, they want to prioritize agriculture. They are very hardworking people. I've been with them. They want to prioritize irrigation. But now they don't have the means. And we have huge chunks of money going to other aspects and other areas. And these are giving rooms for bad leaders who are from very poor background, and they have allowed their mind to be infiltrated by the poverty that they have inherited from their childhood. They may be working in big cars, but they are very poor and they don't know. That's why they have the courage to embezzle. You hear one person embezzling 50-something billion. It tells you that the divide is in them, and the root of the divide are the leaders themselves. So I tally again with that with Mr. Njium, who made mention of leadership. It is one thing to be poor. It is a blessing to be born from a poor background, but it becomes a curse if the poverty becomes a virus, because you lost sense of humanity. When you are treating another human being in a bad way, it means nothing to you, because you have allowed the poverty to enter right inside your fiber. So when these political leaders steal this kind of monies, and then they go to other regions of this country, they go to north, they go to some areas of west, they go to southwest and northwest, they don't have any empathy with what is actually going on. On the contrary, they believe they can exploit the situation for their gain. Again, history will judge us all as Cameroonians, with me inclusive. So I think that those are the key points I can highlight to show that truly we are not united.
Bisong Mwalimu, happy Sunday to you. Bisong Mwalimu, watching us from Tiko, the gateway town to the southwest region of Cameroon. Engineer, let me do a bit follow-up. You talked about the issue of roads. I think this probably our development. This probably is a national issue, because, for example, I was in Yaoundé yesterday. I went to Irat Yaoundé, the entrance in Irat Yaoundé, that also housed a section of the agricultural extension of University of Chang. In fact, there are a lot of higher institutions, the state institutions, but the road in that area, I'm talking about the road to this area that has Irat, the Institute of Research Agriculture and Development. I'm talking about Irat. I'm also talking about has also a university, a branch of Chang, which is on agronomy or something like that, and also an area which has, I think, one of the biggest government technical school, high school in Cameroon. The road network there is terrible.
Yes.
We're talking about Yaoundé.
Yaoundé, that brings me again to what I just mentioned, the delayed decentralization. The delayed decentralization. If decentralization was activated, maybe some few years after it was enshrined in the constitution.
After 1996?
After 1996, we will not be where we are. But it needed bloodshed.
6 years.
It needed bloodshed for that to happen. That is a long time, and look at the damage.
And we are not talking about accelerated decentralization.
Well, accelerated how? How are we accelerating the decentralization?
We have put the gear now.
We still have governors, we have regional councillors. All the old structures is just like we are mixing everything. We don't really know what we want to practice.
We talked about cost in 1972, but now the cost is more.
It's more.
Because we have, for example, we have the regional president,
yes,
council, you have the governor, the regional councillor, president, we are told is the chief executive officer of the region. you have the governor of
The governor.
region. You have the senior divisional officer of the region. You have the mayor of that senior divisional officer. You have the House of Chiefs.
And then the House of Chiefs.
Then you also come now from that level, you have the regional delegate of higher education, which they say the decentralization structure will mean that the regional council will have autonomy, will control some of the schools, the secondary schools and high. Now you have a regional delegate, you have divisional delegate, you also have divisional delegate of DOs, you have at the same time you have divisional delegate of all the ministries. So how we cutting down costs?
It is a web of administrative positions that don't produce anything. Why can't we to rechannel some of these resources for our production?
Okay. Let me take on this message coming to the room so that we can look at proposed way out of this. Then we'll move to the second topic. Mwalimu from Mwalimu Bison from Tigo says, "Hello Jarvis, good morning. The measure of unity back then in 1972 was far better than the situation now. Cameroon is even more fragmented now than ever before. The raging Anglophone problem is expressed evidence of discontent and divide. Unity in Cameroon today is merely sloganing. It is a sing-song." Mwalimu writing from the gateway town of Tico. This one right, he says, this is Ndo Nena writing from Ginicom. He says, "Greetings to you all in the studio. How can we be talking of unity and celebrating it, whereas even the aspect of that nomenclature was blatantly wiped out in the 1984. There is a lot of pretense and bad faith that claims that we are united by wiping out the binding words in the country's name and pretending that we are bilingual country. It's a mockery it is a mockery on some Cameroonians. We may not want to voice it out openly, but there is a clear and well-planned swallowing up of one state by another, which began softly in 1961, started aggravating in 1972, and got worse in 1984. At least head of state openly pointed it out in Paris a couple of years ago. We can't talk of unity, please. Though writing from Ginicom. This other one says, "Good afternoon to you guys in the studio. Happy Sunday to you. Thank you for this topic. I think we are much divided before than united. If we look at when I was born in 1990, if I look at how I've grown till now, I think that in my small 34 years, Cameroon is divided. In fact, if you say divided, it's an understatement. We need to look for another word. It is common today to see how people are calling others names. It is also common to go to an office, and when you say you are from this particular region, they will not treat you well. And if you look at the concours, Mr. Jarvis, look at our police concours. Ask me, is that unity? Unity where you have majority, if not 95% of one region, one area taken all over the police office? Is it that they are so professional in police keeping that only their area is given this position? I'm asking this question because I want to be sure that these persons are so professional that they are given this position. Look at the also area of gendarmerie. How many gendarmerie do we have? I am not talking about the fact that we should go to regional balance and not give people merit, but the question is, in all the 10 regions, we have people who can pass this concours very well. And so, but rather, unfortunate, some few individuals are handpicked to sing the song of national unity. To me, we should call ourselves to question that if Cameroon is united, why is it that we have the Anglophone crisis? Mr. Jarvis, I am an Anglophone, but let me keep it aside. Let us go to the north. Do you think that the people of the north are living well? Just go to the north. You will see how schools are being held, schools are functioning and classes are being held without classroom under trees in a country where ministers pride themselves with prados and escorts. I just read a while ago that the Minister of Secondary Education has been accorded 100 million to buy new cars. Mr. Jarvis, let that minister go to the north and see how children are learning under the sun. Is that unity? I don't want to give my name, but thank you guys. Jewum Emmanuel, how do we go from here?
Yes, we have been talking for so long. I want to think that one of the fuel tanks of disunity in this country has been tribalism. and nepotism, which has given way to mediocrity in the place of meritocracy. Because a lot of people who call themselves in Cameroon administrators are actually not administrators. You see, people know nothing in Cameroon, as I've always said, have been given the task to run Cameroon, which is a very delicate task. We must start from somewhere. And to start from somewhere, this tribalism, like I share the view of that, the last message you wrote, that disunity is a reality in Cameroon. Except you are a devil's advocate, you cannot say no. It's a fact. Tribalism in Cameroon is a fact. You don't even need a hypothesis to prove it any longer. It's a reality. We live it. There was a time a paper was circulating on social media. On it, how many governors are in Cameroon? 10. Go into the 10 and see how many come from one region. How many senior divisional officers are in Cameroon? Go into that list. See how many of them are from one country. I said a particular tribe or a particular region has been proven on paper to be the most intelligent in the whole wide country, like Cameroon. If we cannot fight tribalism, tribalism kills, tribalism destroys. Because in tribalism, the mediocres, as they call it, lord over the intelligent ones. The stupid ones are given an opportunity over the intelligent ones. They lord over us, whereas we know that most of them are empty. But then, who gave them? I said they are empty. I assume it. I take responsibility. We are asking the question.
We take exception to that.
Who told them?
My Mr. Prime take exception.
Yes. And I take responsibility. Who told them that in a country of more than 30 million population?
Are you sure we are in 30 million?
No, we are more than.
Which statistics?
Cameroonians should learn to do their statistics when the government has failed to offer statistics. So
we are dealing with the
no, only Douala alone. Only Douala alone, you know the population. So I don't. That's you want to. I don't want to divert. Who told a particular minority that they were the most intelligent group to lead Cameroon? The way out is very simple. When you are doing approaches to management, you have 3 approaches. Authoritarian approach. In this case, the people, the people up there believe that our views do not count, and that is why I've been obtaining for 42 years or 52 years. We have the instructional management approach, which I think Cameroon has failed to make use of it, which has a standard procedure to manage a structure or a country. This one, they have carefully put it aside because it demands a standard procedure which has to do with the content of the step-by-step content evaluation. Yaoundé has carefully put this one aside. And lastly, we have the behavior modification approach. This behavior modification approach is what I'll be telling Yaoundé today, to look deep, introspect. Have you people motivated Cameroonians enough to think or to believe that they're living in unity? The answer is no, because it goes with motivation. We are not being motivated. That is why there is war in Northwest and Southwest, and the 8 other regions of the country are living as if life was normal. I once proposed that one way out of this crisis or this war in Norway and Southwest, to hold the testicles of the state. It's only one way. If the 8 regions of Cameroon get over money and stand up, that we want a solution to the war in Northwest and Southwest, or we want an end to it. I'm telling you that it will end. But since they continue living as if life was very normal, nothing can change. Lastly, you are asking for a way out. Look, Cameroonians have been brainwashed for a long time. I was one of those people who said it repeatedly, that Cameroon cannot change through the ballot. But let me tell you, the kind of leadership we have in Yaoundé, they are not very smart enough to steal an election wherein 15 million Cameroonians have gone to the polls and have voted effectively. They are not smart. They can be smart in corruption, they can be smart in embezzlement, but they are not smart in figures. 15 million is above them. Cameroonians, this is the time. Listen, time changes and our analysis also change. Get your voters card, get ready, go to the polls in 2025. Let's patch out these people who have hold and mortgage our future, and that we are a sacrificed generation already. But we don't want that the future of our children coming up should be mortgaged as well. I once said, and you permit me quote because I exchanged with her, Madame Kawala, Madame Gombe, or who like that, are respectable voices in this nation. But they are faltered of late, telling Cameroonians not to register and vote because it is the same referee. It's a failure on their part. And I'm calling them to go back and sensitize this population. Use this very media. She was here. Tell them to vote. Because asking me to stand up for Cameroon, I will not stand up. Asking me to go out on the street and march, I will not go out. Because I've been asking, on what basis should I put off black on Friday? On what basis should I go out to stand up for Cameroon? Whereas, but I can go out happily and become a prisoner in my own country if my vote is stolen. The only thing that Cameroonian needs to rise up for should be their vote if it is stolen in 2025. And I mean it because I'm a champion. I am on the field. The Coalition for Civil Society, headed by Dr. Ako, John Ako, in which I happen to be the National Treasury, we stand for one objective: change. We are non-partisan. But even if in the ranks of CBDM, we have somebody who can stand and fight for the plight of Cameroonians, which has not been the case, we'll back up that person.
Mr. Jarvis, let me inform you that I have a friend who comes from South. He told me that in their village, wherever there is a gendarmerie concours, those big guns come to the village and ask each family to produce a list of children who want to join the defense forces. This is coming from an anonymous sender. This other one says, Mr. Jarvis, I think that the issue of national unity is something that we should talk about. Unfortunately, this current government or regime doesn't want national unity. What I see is national disunity. The truth is, unity in Cameroon will be a strength, and Cameroon will be the most admirable nation on earth. But unfortunately, that is not what we are doing. So, to me, I think the next president, or whoever that is, should be able to promote national unity from an objective position. This is coming from So in Bamenda. This one right says the reason for unity, the reason for unity state was to assimilate and suppress Anglophone. How can a president declare war on Anglophone when we are united? Ngong Julius writing from Yaoundé. This other one says, good day, House of Commons. The destruction of the federal system in 1972 was a calculated attempt to divide and rule the country and not cost of administration. How can we explain the fact that Bamenda City, for example, is having at least 10 administrators, that is one governor, one senior divisional officer, 3 divisional officers, 1 city mayor, 3 sub-divisional mayors, and 1 president of the regional assembly. And if the PEC is added, is this the number one? Is this number? It will be 11 administrators. So running these administrators today, is it cheaper than the 2 federal states before 1972? Rene writing from Bamenda says, this one's a greetings farm. The truth is all Anglophones have the bitterness in their hearts. French-speaking Cameroonians are making us feel it is to be born an Anglophone speaking Cameroonian. English educational system has been ousted by GC board should be banned. A new educational system has to be put in place. Dig up the historical truth of this nation and teach the upcoming generation and let them know. Well, it is the way out, Nick, before coming to Engineer Dixon.
Yeah,
so we can move to the next topic.
The way out to ensure national unity in Cameroon is, first of all, to admit that we are not united. To admit that at this point in time we are more divided. And if we don't admit that, we are going nowhere. And it's to bring in solutions that would foster our unity in diversity. The first thing that will go along that way will be the form of the state and the course of governance. The form of the state in Cameroon is obsolete, and it is very expensive and costly. And if we want to foster national unity, we must be able to promote regional governments, regionalism, or better still, go back to the federal system. I don't think this one will be more costly. In this case, it will be able to preserve our unity in diversity. Look at the situation in Nigeria. When they faced a secessionist war in 1966, they had to, at that point in time, I think they were practicing regionalism. They had to bring in the states, and so that each state is able, with autonomous states, so that each state is able to manage their affairs, manage their resources in a kind of way. But the hyper-centralized system of government that we have in Cameroon is not helping us. It is rather breeding disunity. It's rather promoting tribalism. In that, it is a time bomb that has been planted. If you go to all the key aspects, or all the key states, or all the key spheres of this nation, they are being manned by people from the same region, if not from the same village, which is a kind of time bomb that is being planted. They may be enjoying the booties at the moment, but there will come a time when all of this will explode and it will bring a lot of disorder into this nation. The people that be, or the leadership that be, should do it, or should do justice to history by righting these wrongs before leaving power, or before leaving this earth. If not, they will live in a nation that will be more divided, that will not, in few years to come, will not be able to recognize itself. We don't wish, or e-log, we don't wish some kind of bad fate to happen to this country. But what we do on a daily basis as a government can be able to mar this living together. If the understanding of national unity in Cameroon is that you are able to live in a northern region, or you from the south live in the littoral, because that is the mentality of national unity in Cameroon. Okay. They say that national unity, you are able to eat the food of somebody from the north, you are able to eat the food of somebody from the south. And to them, that is national unity.
And you dance
you dance, or you dress in their traditional,
or you get married from a man,
or you get married from them. That's their mentality about national unity, which is, to me, doesn't make sense. National unity is not that kind of unity. People should be able, there should be unity in diversity. Okay. There should not be national uniformity, as I earlier said, that's been promoted by the current regime.
Good day. Cameroon is only united when it comes to football. Other than that, there is no unity. The best way to call or bring back this unity is for opinions to be properly heard and actions taken to not 100% favor everyone, but it should be fair and amicable. This is coming from BAMS. Engineer, what's the way forward so that we can move to the second topic?
Yeah, the way forward can be depicted from the pointers I already made mention of, and I will highlight the way forward meticulously. You cannot sell the goat and then you hold rope. Meaning, when you appoint people, let them work in a free and fair environment under the law. So, decentralization should be strengthened, and regions should be integrated in governance, meaning let the people govern themselves. And economic development should be evenly distributed based on evaluated needs of the different regions, not based on somebody's idea
Not based on
in
uniformity.
Yaoundé. So to me, these things can bring back patriotism and active engagement in unity construction. And lastly, Mr. Jarvis, reconciliation and continuous dialogue should be ongoing. There's dialogue, then there's reconciliation. I mean, those acts, love is act. It's an action verb, not so. Love is not a noun. When you say, I love this nation, it's not words. It's the actions that follow the words. So dialogue and reconciliation should be a continuous process until unity is attained in our diversity to the level that anybody from outside or inside can see all the evidence of it, and long and lasting peace is what we wish for.
Greetings to you, greetings all Cameroonians home and abroad. I think Cameroonians are not united because the French language is used as a language of superiority in most parts of Cameroon, even by our own English-speaking citizens in roles to serve the population. They instead intimidate us in most offices you visit with French. Dixon Niba Wututu Limbe. This other one right, he says, NS says, greetings to everyone in the house, especially to my countryman, Zeum Emmanuel. Tell him we are behind him and the coalition of civil society. I wish one of you is going to be one of the candidates for the presidential election come 2025, because even now as we speak, there is nobody to vote for. But we just need to register. About the unity, Yaoundé has divided to maintain power, and it will end come 2025. Thanks a lot for my media Prime TV Prince writing from Limbe. I'll begin the second topic with you, engineer. You are the second topic we are looking at outsourcing the Cameroon's national identity card production to a foreign company. But before then, while our technician change it, let me take on this last message on this the other topic before moving to the next topic. Good afternoon to you people in the studio. Unity is not only emphasized where there is no unity. If we were united, we won't do debate about unity. But let's not talk about unity as if it is someone else's responsibility. I want to wish you happy Sunday, Akini. Akini, who is a very strong choir member of Nego Spiritual, who is watching us. Happy Sunday to you, Akini, and also to your entire family, Akini. Happy Sunday to you too. Okay, the second topic should come on to the government about source the production of ID card. Engineer, I'm confused there.
Okay.
How do we outsource the production of ID card when we have people like you that are training Cameroonians in the higher education field? Is it that we don't train these Cameroonians with the competent skills? Don't we have people who can handle this?
Mr. Jarvis, first, I think the initiative of revising our ID system is applaudable, because we have people who have applied for ID cards in this country 10 years. They have never laid hands on the original. Every day they are being harassed by police for ID cards. Now, the idea is applaudable, but the idea of outsourcing this to a foreign company is something that is not applaudable. I think that Cameroon is at the level, we have big tech companies in Cameroon that are doing marvelously well. I will not mention them for publicity reasons, but I just want to mention some key projects that have happened that Cameroonian engineers, IT engineers, are the ones who have made that a reality. We have the transcript system of UB. It was not a foreign company that came and did that. We have the digitalization of GC board. These are Cameroon engineers. We have the online registration system for concours during COVID. No foreign company came to get that done. So our engineers are up to date. But the thing is, when people want to eat, they always look outside, because in that negotiation, there is lobbying, and lobbying goes with some exchanges. So people have to feed their pockets. But let me tell them, let me advise our fathers, our elder brothers, it is great danger for a nation to outsource its identification system, because we are looking at data. Anybody that has lay hold on your data can control anything about you, economically, politically, and you can name all the others. We also have security concerns, meaning we don't have privacy. These data are exposed. Are Cameroonians going to trust this system? Question mark. And now, if we don't come back and rethink this, all we are seeing is a possibility to make it happen, and not seeing the security concerns, the privacies, the loss of control of data that may come in long run. I think we are heading for something dangerous that we don't want to, we know, but we don't want to see.
Because of personal interest.
Because of personal interest. That's my point. What would have been the right way to go about this? ID system, the key component of such a system is the server. Is the server. For the machineries that are used to input the data, that we can buy. Now, we bring our IT experts together, we tell them what we want, and then they will sit and come up with a clear project on that and develop an invoice with a roadmap on how it's going to be done. That will be done with ease. I think we should stop underestimating our national skills, our skills of our own. We should stop underestimating, and I think that is one of President Paul Biya's vision: development of local content. By 2035, we should start doing things on our own. When do we want to start learning?
But we are instead going back.
We are going backward. In this era, we still go out of the country to get even the most common thing that we can do here. The ID system is a complicated system, but we have the skills. Look at the way Western Union, if you remember Western Union in those days, came and solved a major problem. That's an IT skill. It was installed by who? A Cameroonian. We used to transfer money through agencies. You go, you letters through agencies or through the post office. That's how money was transferred. When Western Union came, a technology acquired by Cameroonian, installed by Cameroonian, it opened the eyes of everybody that this can be done. So the government should stop underestimating Cameroonians, because these same Cameroonians are doing great services to our neighboring countries. They should find out what I'm saying. As I don't want to call.
Is it not also?
I don't want to call companies, but I know them.
Is it not also a proof that we don't trust our educational system? If we can outsource.
No, it's personal interest. It's not the trust. It's personal interest. The person knows that in the country the thing may be cheaper, and his gombo will not come out.
So we sacrifice the nation for personal interest.
It's possible. It's possible.
Yeah,
that's why I say
that
poverty mindset is dangerous. It's not a bad thing to come in this world poor, but it's a very bad thing to allow that poverty to enter your brain. That's when you lost value for humanity. You can eat everything that belongs to everybody and you don't care. That's poverty mindset.
And you are still not satisfied.
And you are still not satisfied because you will not be satisfied because you are a poor person in spirit.
Let me take on this one. Good day, members in the House of Commons. Cameroon is united. Cameroon is not united because I can imagine why will some region have more privileges than others? Why will Douala be having potable water because some areas in the north aren't, whereas a 10-state federation is being introduced and will help to reduce this issue? This other right, it says Cameroon is not united, God forbid, never. An Anglophone president will, and an Anglophone will never be president in Cameroon. Most of them words using by the, okay, message is got to now. Jim Emmanuel. For more than 60 years that Cameroon regained its independence. For more than 30 years that Cameroon started teaching its students from within the higher education field. The level of engineering, software, IT skills. We have professors who are teaching in universities, students of IT-based software engineering, cybersecurity, computer networking, and at this dispensation we have people who have defended master's thesis and PhDs in this field, and yet we still go ahead to outsource our ID card production to a foreign company. How ready are we as far as 2035 is concerned, or is it that we don't trust the people we train in a higher education?
Nothing exists anywhere as an agenda for 2035. Let Cameroonians first of all forget about that slogan. You know, we started from New Deal, Grandes Ambitions,
Grand réalisation, Grand
opportunité,
opportunité.
and the only thing they did not tell us is Grand Détournement. You see, there is a, Cameroon has a problem, and that problem has to go back to its educational system. You all know how some of these people gain their admission into these higher institutes, especially the state universities, like the insect, the economy, through corruption. I know very well that somebody with a godfather is capable of passing biology, whereas he did history in high school, and then he becomes a teacher of biology from ENS. And it's so appalling, it's so disheartening, it's sickening, because such fellows come out and are given very colossal positions to manage in this country. You are talking about professors who lecture agriculture. Those are people who are not even agronomists. They don't own any 1 acre of farm somewhere. I'm telling you.
They have thesis now.
And they have thesis in agriculture. We have people in this country who studied whether it's biochemistry or whatsoever, and they cannot produce a grenade. And you call them professors. We allocate, we just share titles, doctor, professor. On paper. I want to tell you, our system does not even value those people they train. They doubt it. Why? Because they know that those training centers are not being equipped with what is necessary to equip them. Some of our brothers, whom I must thank very much, have invested so much on themselves to make sure that their skills sprout out of the soil. Unfortunately, they are seen out of Cameroon, not in Cameroon. And that is why you discover that a lot of brain drain is increasing in Cameroon. Because he is sitting here today. Tell me the last time Yaoundé ever consulted him in his domain.
And he has been fighting hard.
He has been fighting tooth and nail. But you have fellows up there
if
who
you
does not
presented a sewage system will come
who,
voila.
And every day we are having natural disasters, whom I've always said natural disasters can be very natural, but with the studies we have, we have people who can give us an idea of the telling signs of such things so that they could be averted. When was the last time he was consulted in his domain to submit a document that can carry the nation forward? So which means that
he even wrote and said that this is how you can do it.
It will not be validated. You know why it will not be validated?
It has not.
It will not be validated except one morning God smile on his file. Do you know why? If he goes there, he will want to talk meritocracy. He will not go on a win-win negotiation basis. Whereas we're in a country where everything is bought and sold.
It's lobby.
We must lobby. You have talent as what? You must lobby for that talent. You sell half of the talent to the regime, and then they give you half of what
You want.
That is, we actually batter our talents in this country. And it is unfortunate because looking at the case of the ID cards in Cameroon, for many years I used to say there will come a time when Cameroonians will be living as tenants and the landlords are elsewhere. This is a clear proof that we are tenants Our landlord is somewhere
Producing your ID card.
producing my ID
And
card.
can determine who has an ID card.
Somebody is sitting in
Can
Germany.
double ID.
The person can produce even 10 ID cards for one person. And I will say something which is very sensitive. These guys are not fools, as you people think. It is not only on the lobbying plan. Look, there are people in this country who know that in the Third Republic, even their names will not be mentioned in this country. They are fighting tooth and nail to even change the parts of their names so that it is not mentioned in the Third Republic. So for strategic reasons, they have to click where they can have a possibility of changing their names, changing their identification documents to run away from this country, because we have future prisoners in this country in their numbers. I've been saying, even if they are not developing roads, not developing schools, they should be developing prisons. We are taking note. In the Third Republic, these guys, they are already having an agenda. This agenda should not be seen only as something that they are programming to deliver ID cards for Cameroonians. There is second and third agenda, and that agenda is for some people to run away from this country free of charge. Just imagine I am Condio and I'm waited at the airport. I've been banned from leaving the country, and the policeman is waiting for Ndium. But on my ID card, he sees Sue, Elvis. Huh? That is not Ndium. He cannot pick me up. I'll go. I will go. So, it is more than what Cameroonians are thinking. We need to put up our thinking caps. Unfortunately, we can always speak. We don't have the mechanism to change things or to tell the corporation that they have already signed the agreement to stop. So we are finished. I say we are doomed.
Were you consulted?
We were never consulted. So our ideas may not count. But the good thing is that as they don't count today, they will count tomorrow.
At the ballot box.
About it. At the ballot box.
This ID card issue can be sorted out if we have engineers in our country that can create a system that makes it easy to get the ID card. It will be beneficial to all Cameroonians. Why not empower them and let the money stay here? And we intend reduce unemployment.
Tah Mai Jarvis, 1 minute, please. And all this money like this, at a time, every reasonable country is fighting to stop capital flight. Cameroon is promoting capital flight in a huge dimension.
It's billions.
Billions.
A new
That will be taken from Cameroon, exported at a time when we are even making our diaspora that if we can reason together, the money you are channeling for guns can be sent to the country for the development of our local communities. Cameroon government opts for capital.
Why not even launch a bid within Cameroon?
And we have
to
people
say that
trained in
tender,
Cameroon,
yes,
who can be brought together. Just imagine the level of technology in Cameroon now.
Is it that we are afraid of
More than
Cameroonians?
that of is more than that of people in developed countries.
Is it that they are afraid of Cameroonians, that if they control the system?
Like I've just said a while ago, they are afraid if it is given in the hands of Cameroonians, when time will come for some of them, when they will be about to run, these young Cameroonians, again for that matter, will refuse.
This one, let me continue our message. It says, intend to reduce unemployment. Make those systems available in universities, secondary schools, and police stations to ease distribution and production to make it. Outsourcing it is very dangerous as it puts out the personal information on the whole world in the hands of foreigners. This other one writes is Walimum from Tico. Walimum says, Mr. Jarvis, this issue of ID card production by a foreign company is a shame to the nation. Small countries like Rwanda, Uganda wouldn't do it. Issues like this should be localized and indigenized. It tells you that Cameroon is a neo-colonialist dependent state. If we can import toothpick, little doubt that we expose our personal data to foreigners. This is a national good morning to you guys on board. Unity in Cameroon is far-fetched ideology. An equal sharing of national cake between the French and the English is in our country will only help to tear this beautiful nation apart. Let's continue to pray for our nation. I am Mr. Nzi, writing from Betua. Nick Ano, outsourcing. You are someone within the field of engineering. Let me ask this question. We are looking at the outsourcing of this data. Is it that we don't trust the people we train, or you agree with Jewum and with Engineer Dixon that it is a personal business interest?
Actually, it is. I agree with them totally. It is actually born out of personal interest due to the lack of patriotism we have been seeing. It is not the first time they have been doing that. Our sourcing personal data of Cameroonians without even consulting them is one of the most dangerous.
Having passing through the parliament.
Yes, with the most dangerous thing that any leadership of any country can do. Yeah, because when you sell out your personal data, it's like selling out your secrets. They will be able to know the number of engineers in Cameroon, the number of farmers in Cameroon, the number of people who are not employed in Cameroon from that data. Yeah. So it's very dangerous for this kind of thing to do. How could they, even if they said they don't trust Cameroonians or ordinary Cameroonians to do that, why could they not train some police officers because in the police force we have most of these IT guys. Why could they not train some of them to man these centers? Because from what I read about the contract, I think they said it's a BOT kind of contract. That's the build, operate, and transfer kind of contract. We don't know the details of that. But all we are saying is that we are seeing lack of patriotism in this contract. That is, we don't even know how much it will cost a Cameroonian to produce this ID card. Because if you remember very well in the passport system, when they brought in that system of 48 hours production, price went up from 75,000 to 110,000. This one, we don't know how much it will be. Maybe they will be charging Cameroonians 50,000 to produce an ID card, which to me is very dangerous. And the personal data of every nation is something that's held a top secret. You don't give that to any Tom, Dick, and Jerry. And it is like selling the nation into foreigners. It goes to other aspects of the nation. They don't trust in leadership that don't trust its own people. They don't trust. Yes, they don't trust the hospitals, the finance. They go elsewhere. They go elsewhere for their health care. It goes along the same line. They don't trust their own airlines. You hardly see government ministers taking Cameco. They will charter a flight to go to the north. You hardly see them taking Cameco that may be flying from Yaoundé to the north. Because they don't trust these airlines. They know that what they put there is not secured to carry them. And so a nation cannot develop with this kind of ideology or with this kind of leaders. I keep saying that the leadership in Cameroon, they think more like hunters rather than farmers. Any leadership of any country think like hunters. Hunters only think how to shoot and kill. They don't think like farmers they think of planting and harvesting. So this kind of ideology is very dangerous for a nation like Cameroon. Producing ID cards, one of the most easiest or in terms of technology, that this thing is not rocket science. Ordinary IT engineers in Cameroon can come out and do that kind of thing. We have seen other institutions in Cameroon producing ID. You see University of Boya producing school ID cards that are almost the same standard like quality, national ID card, good quality. We have many of those institutions in Cameroon that can do that. Why can we not valorize our own? And the money, look at the money. I heard it's about 6 billion. Look at this money that will be taken out of the nation. Meanwhile, we could have promoted national content, promote indigenous ideas and so on. That's how you build a nation. You don't build a nation with a foreign mentality, ideology that our leaders have been showing us. And they will expect us to be patriotic. Meanwhile, what they do every day is unpatriotic.
And render us jobless.
Okay. We are out of time. Let me just take on this brief message, then we'll We'll say goodbye from the studio. Some people have taken Cameroon on hostage for their selfish interest. I'm not sure if the president of the republic is aware of this. This other right, it says, how can a whole country, otherwise known as the continent, be unable to produce national identity card for its citizens? Second, a new foreign company, a new foreign country is going to do the production from now on. What happened to those having received with numerous extensions and extensions? Are they to do or redo theirs with the new company? Third, why should identity cards expire after 10 years, whereas the owners haven't changed their nationality? And this one says, good morning to you all in the studio. Yes, let Mr. Chair, it's terrible. Engineer, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Jarvis. I think that our leaders, we keep saying, all we can do is talk. But I hope they are listening and they will take what we are saying into consideration, because 2025, I think majority of the youths in Cameroon have awakened. Many of us are registering again to make sure that our voices will not just be heard on media, but also will exercise our right of franchise. So I encourage all youths in Cameroon to stop talking in beer parlors and let's go vote 2025.
You have submitted good project for sewage drainage in Cameroon, in Douala.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, maybe you have not lobbied hard enough.
I have not lobbied, but it will happen.
Dude, thank you for coming.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It's a pleasure. You see, I just want to appeal once more to the consciences of our leaders that they should know that they made a Cameroon, they shall live a Cameroon. So after their leadership, there will be a Cameroon. All of us shall pass, but Cameroon will remain. But the most important thing is, what legacy did you as a Cameroonian leave behind?
Nick Anno, thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you. Also, I go with the last word of the Greek philosopher Plato, who said, if you leave a political leadership or you refuse to participate in political leadership, you leave that leadership into the hands of fools, or you allow fools to govern you. So we are appealing that at every level that we find ourselves, or at every our workplaces, our quarters, we should be able to conscientize Cameroonians about the importance of voting, or about the importance of having, first of all, a voter's card, because that's where it starts from. You may have a voter's card now. Even if you don't vote, the consciousness is increasing. We can change much by voting, or by voting, choosing right leaders that will be able to bring in the good and right policies, rather than just sitting every day and complaining and complaining. If we increase the consciousness, just look at the short while that the voters' registration was at a peak, or the consciousness was trying to increase. If you look at the panic of the regime in Yaoundé, you will see that if more Cameroonians go into voting, there will be a lot of change in this nation, as opposed to we just sitting. And the government enjoys voter apathy, because they know that when there's voter apathy, they themselves, few of them will be able to manipulate the process, the governance process in Cameroon in the way that suits them. So we are appealing to all Cameroonians who, they see time, go in, acquire your voter's card, and even if you have that card and you don't even vote, at least you have a conscious mind that in the nearest future, you can be able to change something, not allowing people who know nothing about political leadership to be leading you every day.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and thank all those of you who took our time to participate on the program. I want to thank our studio manager here who's sitting with us I want to thank you for the camera switch, and also want to thank you, Desmond Akeba, for the production, and of course, Alan. We want to wish you guys a happy National Day celebration tomorrow, Monday, 20th of May, and also this program comes up every Sunday at exactly 12 to 1:30 p.m. and rebroadcast will be done on this same Sunday at 10:30 p.m. If you want to be a panelist, you want to take part in our discussion, the number that you see on your screen, 676431384, is the number that you can contact me, leave me a message, and I'll include you into the WhatsApp group of House of Commons. When the topic is of a specialty, you can indicate and we'll put you on the edition that we will be talking about. Until we meet again, no matter the matter, what matters is your matter. And what should matter for you this day is that you should know that your vote counts, and go and register for election and stop complaining, because complaining will not change issue. They say if you don't participate in the election, you will be as a menu for those who actually are empowered to eat you. I ask a question: those who call themselves professors and doctors, why are they afraid of politics? Because if they are not into politics, fools will govern us. Until we meet again, bye bye.